Welcome back to the BSH Brief. I'm your host, Caden Freese. Today we're thrilled to welcome our next guest, who's not only a standout English teacher, but also a legendary coach here at Ben High. Whether he's cracking jokes in class or leading his team to victory, he still finds time to grade essays. You can catch him in front of his classroom every passing period connecting with the students. It's Mr. Gilsdorf. Next up, we got two amazing students helping us out today. Can you introduce yourselves?
I'm Pluto Belushi. I'm a senior at here.
Boom.
I'm Brooklyn Gilsdorf, and I'm a junior.
Boom. All right. Well, let's jump into it, everybody. Pleasure to have you all. How's it going?
Pretty well.
Pretty well.
Yeah, pretty well. We have
Doing pretty good.
3 weeks to go.
3 weeks to go. We're pushing on to the end here. Well, we always like to start off to get to know our teacher faculty a little bit better. So, Mr. Gilsdorf, we want to hear a little bit about you, whether it's your past education, a little bit about your family, whatever it is. We want to know who you are.
Okay. Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go.
Born and raised in Portland.
Amazing. Me as well.
And a family of four, wife Cambria, and 2 children.
One of which joining us.
Obviously,
Thank you.
Brooklyn here is a junior, and Brock is an 8th grader.
Okay.
And I'm survived by a younger brother and his awesome family, and smattering of cousins and best friends, and that's just kind of the family life that I have.
That's awesome. Will Brock be following suit here at Ben High?
He will.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Good.
He is already here taking one advanced math class in the morning with Mr. Baker.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so Brock's on
So
it.
as an 8th grader, he finished off middle school math, and where he's at, they were trying to push him towards another neighboring school, but
Yeah.
he's not going to end up there anyway. So he comes here in the morning 2 days a week. Brooklyn's kind enough to take him on days I got to be here early, and then I run him over to High Desert when he's done. So it worked out pretty well.
That's awesome.
And Brooklyn did the same thing with a couple of people as 8th graders as well.
Okay. So you just got very advanced children, is what it sounds like.
100% not me.
wow.
100% not me. So
Okay. Awesome. And I guess, you're not close to retiring, right? No.
Kind
like,
of.
But
Oh.
I guess,
theoretically,
Whoa.
I could finish in 4 years.
Oh.
but I was going to say, we're at least sticking out the next 4 years, while Brock's here.
Correct. But Brock's senior year could be my last year
Wow.
teaching.
Dang.
But
You all graduate together.
right. Drop the microphone and everything. But there's a, our retirement situation that teachers have. I missed the golden parachute time by 2 years. So it would probably, and 2 kids more than likely in college, it would probably make more sense to continue to work.
Yeah,
Instead of
nowadays.
spend money on golfing.
That's understandable, even though that's kind of more preferred. But
Yeah.
that's understandable. Good thing. Where'd you go to college? What'd you study?
I didn't know what I wanted to do right out of high school. Good friends of ours, when we were in high school, you're at the career center kind of a thing, and you're looking at the brochures, and you don't really visit the school. You just go, I want to go there because everybody on the brochure looks like they're having fun and they're pretty.
And there's a
people
pool.
and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't realize that was all, marketing. And then I looked at the price tag of the school that I wanted to go to, and that was not going to happen. So stayed local in Portland and went to Mount Hood Community College.
Yeah.
I don't really remember why I chose that over Portland Community College. I might have known a friend or two, but started there. And then my best friend and I went down to University of Oregon on Civil War weekend with Oregon State, which means it was a chaos, fun-filled event. And I came home and promptly told my mom I'm moving to Eugene because I thought every weekend was like that.
Ooh.
And she said, can you wait till the spring term? And we're not paying for U of O. You better look at the community college. So I ended up going to Lane Community College that spring of what would be your freshman year of college, and then stayed over the summer and worked. I didn't take any classes. I just worked in a restaurant, continued at Lane Community College, and my goal was to go to U of O. But that following summer coming home, I got in a little bit of trouble. And Mom said, you're not going back down to Eugene, with a few curse words in there. And so I finished at Mount Hood and then transferred to Portland State.
Okay.
And so that's where I ended up finishing school.
And what did you major in?
English.
English. Okay. So
And
followed suit on that.
Followed suit on that. And so the ultimate goal was to be an amazing sports writer, because I figured, marry the two. And Sports Illustrated was awesome. Read it all the time. A magazine called ESPN Magazine was coming out. And so I kind of thought that was the path I was going with an English degree. And towards the end, a good friend of mine, his dad called me out of the blue and offered a coaching situation. And I hadn't really thought of it. And I called my dad, and my dad said, go for it. And within the first hour of my experience, I'm like, holy cow, maybe teaching.
Maybe teaching.
Oh,
maybe
wait,
coaching.
I have an English degree coming up. Maybe I could be. So it wasn't like I sat around and thought about being a high school English teacher or something like that. It just sort of came about. And I was probably like 22 or 23 or so. And so then I had to figure out how to get into the School of Education at Portland State, started asking around and realized that it's super competitive, and I'm just a schmuck with barely, any of these credentials that other people have. But there was a teacher at Portland State in the English department who was your kind of like guide teacher. If you wanted to get into the School of Ed through the English world, you had to go to Ray Murrell's. Well, I had never taken one of his classes. Mm-hmm. And so when I sat down with the meeting with him, that was the first thing that he said. And he goes, I teach contemporary lit. I go, yeah, but I really like Nancy Porter. And he goes, I like her too. And she already said you're really good, so you're in.
Okay.
So I got his recommendation without ever taking one of his classes, but it came because I kind of kept following Nancy Porter's classes. So I didn't know that I was like, I thought Nancy Porter liked me. I thought, because I would go to a class. She was a wonderful older teacher, and she wrote nice things on my papers. So it made me want to come back to her class and learn more. Pretty simple stuff. And I believe that he had reached out to her. Mm-hmm. I have this student I've never had. We both teach the same classes. Why did he keep taking yours and not mine?
I see.
So I never asked, but that's just sort of how it worked. And then you get accepted to the School of Education at Portland State, and you have to figure out school observation hours, and you kind of got to work on that on your own. And as I was taking classes, I observed an English class that was English and Humanities at Wilson High School, and I went there one day a week, and I thought it was awesome, and it was great, and the teacher was really fun. And then one day I got a note to the office.
Ooh,
and it was a certain color, and it was a color note, and everybody knew you were going to the VP, like you were going to the vice principal, and everybody oohed and all that kind of stuff. And I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I was fingerprinted, I had followed all the protocol and stuff like that. And I go, like, full on memory. I go into the admin office and I say, I have a note from this vice principal. And the secretary didn't even look at me. She just pointed to a door.
Oh, that's nerve-wracking.
And I knocked on the door, and this loud voice, male voice, comes from the other side. Come in and open it up, and it's my 5th grade teacher, John Crooks, who was like mentor that I loved him. I absolutely loved him in 5th grade. He was our principal in 7th and 8th grade. He had kept tabs on our class because he ended up marrying the mom of one of my classmates. Controversial at the time, super easy to see today. And I just looked at him when he goes, gotcha. I was like, John Crooks, you son of a gun. Like, what's up? He goes, shut the door, man. Come on in. What are you doing? And catching up. And he goes, how can I help? And all this kind of stuff. So I didn't know I had people out there like that. And then, so he said, where do you want to do your full-time student teaching? And because I had started that coaching thing, I said I wanted to do it back at the high school I graduated from. And he said, great, I'll help you any way you can. And kept tabs on me and letter of recommendation. I mean, I went back and asked him for it. And John Crooks. Yeah.
John Crooks, shout out.
Our 5th grade teacher. And he shared a lot of things as an adult with me about our class as 5th graders. He goes, I loved your class, but I had to figure out how to keep you guys in line because you were all super, super smart. And he said, I was thinking of the day while we were doing he would run us through the Pledge of Allegiance. It was a Catholic grade school. Pledge of Allegiance, Hail Mary, and the Lord's Prayer and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't know that he was sitting at the desk while we were reciting all these things, trying to figure out what to do.
And for the class.
Writing a lesson plan. Like, yeah, totally. Because he was just like, you guys were brilliant, but absolutely crazy and not bad behavior, but definitely squirrely. And so he created all these things on the fly. Like he created a citizenship thing where you had to be, you had to mind your manners, so to speak, for an entire week. And at the end of the week, you had one week down. And if you did 4 weeks in a row, you were a citizen of the class. And if you were a citizen of the class, you were capable of being voted president for a month.
Ooh.
And as a president, you had to organize like cleanup crew and who's going to take care of that, take care of this. So what he did is he had poker chips on a ring, and everybody had 5 poker chips, and he called them mullahs. And if you misbehaved, you had to give a mullah up. Well, at the end of the week, if you had 3 mullahs, you got a little Halloween-sized piece of candy, and that counted for your week.
Okay.
I didn't get citizenship till May.
So no presidency for you.
Well, he told me, he goes, you were voted September, but I couldn't give it to you because you weren't, because you wouldn't sit still. You wouldn't stop socializing, and you got done faster than anybody else because class was easy, but I had to find something for you to do. I didn't know any of that. Apparently, I told my parents.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's good at least.
and stuff like
That's
that.
like the most
Yeah.
complicated version of like a quiet game I've ever heard. Instead of just like, okay, quiet game, it's like I'm gonna make this entire thing and it's
Entire
gonna
political
work out.
system.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Fifth grade.
then heartfelt, like what was really awesome. I got to be careful here. So my mom passed away, and he was one of the first adults that weren't family members that walked into like the viewing, and I was just like so happy to see him. And then the magnitude of elementary school and all that kind of stuff, and he was just awesome. Yeah, John Crooks was just awesome. I hope he's doing well. I don't know. Shout out to John Crooks.
Well, this is very interesting because this is the first parent-child combo on the podcast.
You've heard that a little bit, right? The mullahs and the citizenship.
Yeah.
And, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
she knows. She's heard around it.
Yeah.
There's definitely a lot of parent-child combos in this school, but this is the first ones that we get to talk to. What is it like from maybe both of your perspectives, hearing it from the students, maybe hearing it from the teachers or the students about your father? Like, what's that like?
I don't know. I've kind of grown up this place,
Yeah.
which I think is really awesome to have just that experience growing up as what we were called the Rat Pack, as all the coaches' kids here every summer. It's just super awesome, and you just feel like it does feel like a home. Like I know a teacher in every hallway. You turn around, you know. And I think I get it kind of enhanced a little bit as like a family here, but I think that the whole school in general, the culture of it is just that every teacher knows everything about every student. Is always like, how you doing? Oh, I heard you had this math test. How'd that go? Like every teacher knows everything. And so it's just kind of cool to have that environment.
We know the surface stuff. We know how people are doing academically and socializing. Like
Yeah.
We're not, and it's not a super gossip stuff.
Not that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's got to be pretty nice. Like you always have like a classroom to fall back on, a fridge to put stuff
Yes.
in. I mean,
That's always
That has
nice.
become
That's pretty
really,
nice.
really
Too.
important.
Big
Yeah.
fancy
And
thing.
we've talked a little bit about it. Like it was drive to school every day, and then all of a sudden you get your license and you have your own car, and then it's really quiet on the way to school. And now we're at different times.
Oh no.
And with how busy we are, for instance, last night you were already.
I was in bed.
Yeah, it was already like bedtime when I got home from the coaching stuff with Brock, and it was a whole day of not knowing how your day went. Because,
Just not aligning.
and I'm not in the IB world as an educator, as a teacher, and she is. So our daily paths don't cross. Like she's never been a student.
Yeah.
Bear time,
Freshman year.
freshman year,
so
bear
study
time,
hall.
which was just like fun, chatty study hall kind of stuff.
Depends on who you had.
Wait, sorry. Bear time was a very rigorous.
Important.
I had
Show
a
up.
teacher who gave us homework if we didn't have any. And it was freshman year, so we didn't have homework. So she'd give us like geography quizzes.
It's
and
kinda,
we were
I don't know.
like,
that
we
sounds
understood it, but at the
dorky
same
and
time,
fun
we're
at the
like,
same time.
Just an extra
can we do
load.
like some fun stuff?
Yeah,
Like
totally.
conversations,
Keep it light.
Totally.
not just geography that we all
Yeah.
don't have.
So it's it's nothing. Having a child in the classroom, haven't really had yet. In the building is kind of exactly how I had expected it to be. Like she said, like all of these coaches' kids grew up in the building. Free range children. Stay inside the fence line. Bring your scooters. Work in the main office. Help Mary file in the main office over the summer. Like, there's
things.
photos of them pretending to do school, and they have like the little Fisher-Price laptop, and you have 2 or 3 students, aka students, which are younger siblings, scootering down the little ramp in B Hall.
That's
maybe
awesome.
looking to see if there's a janitor nearby because they've just waxed the floor, things like that. All of that kind of stuff, we just followed in line of a whole collection of veteran teachers, Craig Walker, Mick Craven, Brett Bailey, Sally Presley, even though she didn't have children here. But all of them knew our kids growing up, or they had experienced the same thing. Their kids ran through the school, and to have their leadership and have their mentoring towards me about our kids coming up, and it's beyond helpful and memorable and so fortunate. So fortunate.
To grow you as a person, for sure.
Do you think you ever gotten any like insight by having like a student be able like she's been like, Dad, let me tell you what the students are saying. Like, have you ever had like that insight from a student level?
No, because as a teacher kid / coach kid, there are conversations that happen, and it's like, this stays in the house, this stays in the car ride, because maybe I'm frustrated about Timmy in class. There's always Timmy, the student.
There's always a Timmy.
And so like, who is it? And I go, doesn't matter who it is. Just let me,
Just a random student.
let me vent, that kind of thing. And so I think that for Brooklyn and Brock, and I would probably say for all the others as well, the teacher kids, the coach kids, they understand the line.
They keep it tight.
For sure.
Yeah, it is not for you to gossip. It is not for you to know secrets or anything like that. Like that would blow everything that makes this place so cool.
Totally.
Is the trust that students have with teachers and vice versa. If it got around that we were talking negatively,
Of course.
fill in the blank, it would just diminish everything that we have.
Totally.
And why would you want that to happen here?
Exactly. Can you tell the people a little bit about the classes you teach? It's just lit and comp, correct, at this point in time?
Yeah. So I've always loved history, and I've kind of always listened to like Mr. Neal is right next to me, or Mr. Anderson, and I'll take a little bit of what they're doing and say, hey, you guys are learning this freshman year. Let's see how it connects to a book like Animal Farm or something like that. But in terms of the classes that I've been assigned, I've had everything, with the exception of the IB level.
Yeah.
So I've had standard freshmen. I've had a co-taught freshman where we may not be quite up to standard.
Yeah.
So kids are a little bit behind. Straight sophomores, straight juniors, honors juniors, which was for IB students who didn't want to do language arts anymore, but they also didn't want to go pedestrian route. Like they were still
So
they
like different version of writing for college, kind of?
No, it was the same curriculum as Lit and Comp 3 as junior English. We could just go faster and we could get a little bit deeper.
Gotcha.
And you could have legit conversations because homework was going to get done in a timely manner. And because they were accustomed to that.
Yeah.
But it was just like, I'm more math and science, and I couldn't do another 45-page paper for whatever teacher, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we've had fewer and fewer sign up for that, so they had to collapse that class. Way back when we had a few more teachers, we had writing strategies 1, writing strategies 2. And essentially that was, I hate to read. I will write a paragraph if I get a credit.
Oh, that sounds like something my dad would have taken. He's
So-
like, I haven't read a book in forever.
Yeah. So it was affectionately called writing tragedies.
Writing tragedies.
Writing
That's actually pretty
tragedies.
It's a good nickname.
That was not the genre we were writing. It was
Just the class.
It was the class, yeah. And
quickly got collapsed.
right. Well, yeah, it did. And because we wanted to boost up writing 121, writing 122, which is now writing for college, because we have to always rename things. And
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years. And we were also adopting IB, and we knew that was going to pull teachers. This is all like English department-y meeting stuff. And then it got down to writing strategies, no number, but only for seniors.
Mm-hmm.
And then it went away like 3 or 4 years ago. We used to have British literature for seniors.
Whoa.
British
And
literature.
I loved it. Yeah, it was awesome. I was the last one to teach it.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds so specific too. I
Oh,
feel like
it-
most of our classes, like the names are just so broad
Basic.
for anything, and this
Sorry,
one's British.
that's a district thing.
Tragic.
We can't name things. Yeah. So Britlit was
Britlit.
Britlit.
That'd be fun to say. I got Britlit today.
It was Sir Gawain and the Green Knight,
Whoa.
Beowulf, 2 Shakespeare
Classic.
plays, Canterbury Tales, and then I would always throw in something by a British writer. We did All Quiet on the Western Front, and then we did World War I poetry associated with it going into it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun. Our beloved Mr. Liam Brown.
Okay. Haven't
He's
heard of
history,
him.
He's a history teacher and former student. His senior class was the last year that they taught it. So I had Liam in that class.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I didn't have Mr. Claire or Miss Friesen because I wasn't here yet. I was here after the year after they graduated.
Yeah.
So 2006.
Boom. I
That
got
was
you.
my first year here.
Okay. That's awesome. Do you know next year what your class lineup looks like? Is it just lit and comp again?
It looks like the same.
Freshman, junior?
Yeah, 2 or 3 freshmen, 3 juniors. Fingers crossed. I don't
Okay.
because I'm kind of on that groove.
I'll tell you what, the word from the seniors is they're very mad you don't teach senior English.
Just like standard lit.
Yeah.
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 It would be fun. And no, I take that back. I taught that during COVID
Okay.
because, our beloved WebEx classes.
as much as you can teach through a screen.
Right. Yeah. So
So
exactly.
tough.
Exactly. As I'm just geeked out normally about whatever I'm talking about, the screens were blank and
Yeah, you're talking to no one,
I'm reading to
basically.
the Brady Bunch squares, and then you would hear that beloved sound, right, when people signed off. Bloop, 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 bloop,
Yeah.
bloop. Yeah. It's like,
wanna
wait,
be
I'm not
here.
done. I'm getting to the good part. So, yeah.
But do you choose, like, I'm doing freshmen, juniors, or Mr. Reese tells you, here's who you're teaching?
No, so what we do, or how it works, and this is for all departments, is you get what the students have forecasted for,
Yeah.
and you look and see how many numbers, and if you have like this weird 38 signed up for 2 sections, you can't, they're just not going to do it. They're going to collapse one, and you're going to have a class of 38 instead of 2 classes of 17 or 19 or something like that, which would be really pretty awesome, but that's just not how the finances work. So what we usually do is open it up to the English department room. Is anybody dying to get out of a class they've been teaching too long? Like if you're burned out on freshmen.
Yeah.
And we let them kind of go first. Like, I've done freshmen for 15 years. I need another
I
age
need a
group.
break.
And then we do that. And then what we really try to do, and I believe the other departments do it the same way, is we really try to look at making sure a teacher doesn't have like 3 or 4 preps. Not your period off, but how many classes you're teaching, how many different classes you're teaching. So if I went period, I went freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, lunch, that would be 4 preps in a day. So you're prepping for 4 different age groups, 4 different expectations, 4 different pieces of literature. And so we really try to keep it to 2 to 3.
I see.
But then you have these like standalones. And then the room gets real quiet. And then it's usually our wonderful Mr. Viles. He go, I'll take it. And so he'll take that extra one, and then they kind of can figure it all out. And then they look at restraints. So we have a couple of teachers who are part-time due to families growing.
Yeah.
And so they try to accommodate their schedules as best fits with daycare. And then some people have a preference for what period they went off, so their prep period. And then we give that to the master scheduler. And then by the end of the year, we get what our schedule might be. It could
Okay.
change over the summer, but it usually doesn't.
Usually doesn't.
So
Okay.
usually you go into the summer and you're like,
You know what you're doing.
I
Yeah,
got
It's
one
either
on.
win or
yeah, you
slightly
got
less
left
win.
hand, yeah, you got left hand celebrate, and you kind of maybe snowballed it to where you like, oh, I guess I'll take it. Yeah. But it's really what you wanted in
Totally.
the first place. Yeah. So next year I'm supposed to have three freshmen, 3 juniors.
Boom. That's
Yeah.
the win. Okay, moving on a little bit is coaching. Coaching for you, and then sports in general. But you coach football, baseball, correct?
Football, basketball, baseball-ish.
Okay,
I'm not
3.
on Coach Claire's staff, but I have helped with the junior Lava Bear program coming up. So
Okay.
a 6th grade team, a 7th grade team, and now they're 8th graders.
And is it primarily football?
It's everything.
It's primarily
Yeah,
everything. Jack of all trades.
Sure. Football is the longest
Yeah.
that I've done. So I have coached football for 34.
Wow.
So I was coaching it before I started teaching. So you kind
Okay.
of get your feet wet and stuff like that. And then I did basketball for a couple of years at Tigard, but when my wife and I moved here, no kids, the mountain's 30 minutes away. I didn't really know anybody basketball-wise, so I didn't do it. But I wish I would have coached with Don Hayes. So Don Hayes was our longtime math teacher and coach here, and he offered. It just wasn't the right time. And I just wish I would have been on his staff in some capacity because I just think he's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, football, basketball, and baseball. But what's really ironic or weird with Brooklyn is that I have never coached her.
Either. No coaching, no classes.
Because throughout like the middle school years, it was all gymnastics. And it wasn't until you got high school that you decided to do high school sports.
Basketball
And
or
I don't know volleyball. And how could I help Mrs. Cooper? Like, she's awesome. And her staff is awesome. And I was doing boys basketball. It would be hard to slide over. Not hard, like it would have been fine. But
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about track other than turn left and run fast.
Turn left, run fast. So Brooklyn,
Move your feet.
you do basketball, and then what track and field events?
hurdles.
Hurdles, awesome. Any
Yeah.
other
And
sports?
volleyball.
Yeah, and then
And volleyball. Boom. What's it like? Have you you've never directly coached her, but is it like having a coach as a father? Is it kind of like pressure's on, I got to perform? Or is it maybe like I have a coach as a dad, so like this is easy for me? What's that
Yeah.
kind of like, that relationship?
It's kind of, I think it just sets you up for how your mindset is, like going into sports and practice, and how you have respect for your coaches and teammates and playing the game. And it just sets you up to like know that you have to work hard to earn a spot. You have to do this to work, like all of that. I think it just influences you in a good way in that sense. And the pressure is not really there. They just want to see you succeed, because I feel like as a coach, that's what he looks at his players for, is to succeed and grow, get better at the little things, to stay consistent. Definitely defense is what I prefer to focus on. So I just hard work. I like one of the quotes, Damian Lillard quote, I think is what you've mentioned to me one time, or just that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
Hey,
And that's just one
That's
that
a good
kind
one.
of,
that's a great quote.
yeah.
I'm
So,
not sure if that's
that might not be
Lillard.
him.
That's also a Rusty Clemens too.
That might be, okay.
There's all
It's
these,
gone around.
I mean, there's all these individuals that were here when I got here, that I've already mentioned, and they have such a huge impact on my life. And if I could pass that on, then that's perfect.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
What's maybe like the PSA to anyone listening of like students next year sports wise, of like take a sport, do football because I'm doing football, or just like what's the word?
I think as freshmen come in and you're in those first couple of days, you want to encourage them, if they haven't already found a sport,
Yep.
you want to encourage them to find an activity. So obviously a person who coaches, it would be great if they decided in the fall, like, hey, I want to try cross country, or wrestling seems, I'm like, okay, well, that's a tough one. You can't just like raise your hand and try.
Yeah, wrestling, you got to have
Kinda
a
all
little
in.
bit of.
Yeah, well, it's not, it's just hard. It's just like the toughest one out there. But find an activity. And so then I talk about all the clubs that we have. Like that is an activity as well. You have to find a group to be a part of. And then I also wanted to always make sure that there's a shout out to kids that are involved in any of our performing arts. And if you are good at an instrument, continue to practice that instrument, understand the value of that and the discipline that it takes and how that can play into academic discipline and life discipline, but also that we have really, really good teachers and instructors here.
Yes.
And being a big theater dork or a theater geek, however you want to call it, back in my day, I've been on stage. I got paid.
You've been paid?
Paid. Oh, wow.
I had a movie audition.
What?
I was in some commercials in Portland.
Okay, hold
Breaking
on.
news.
Yeah, like throwing it on down there. So I always just say like, hey, our auditions for whatever the fall play is coming up, if you've never thought about it, give it a try. If you're scared to death to be on the stage, there is an energy in the back as a stage helper that is unbelievable. You are as much important up front as you are in the back.
100%.
And closing night, you're all going to go out. I'd say Sherry's, but they're closed. But you're all going to go out and have a cast party, and you're totally involved in that. That is a team. That is, you have to show up. You're accountable. If you don't, you're letting your team down. If you don't memorize your lines, it's like not working on your free throws. That's like not working on your steps in whatever sport. And again, great mentors. I had an unbelievable 7th and 8th grade, 9th grade kind of drama teacher who inspired me to get on the stage and to do it. And it might have been because I could memorize the lines that nobody else could. So maybe I wasn't all that good, but she saw something in me and I really, really enjoyed it. I ran it with it for 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
And so to go back to the question, like that's how you get involved in school is you find a group that you really feel comfortable with that will push you, that will call you out on your BS, that will hold you accountable for that kind of stuff. And perhaps it's out there as the starting pitcher. You're on the stage, so to speak, athletically, or you might literally be on the stage trying to belt out a solo in a musical.
Yeah.
It's all kind of the same. It's nerves, it's preparation, it's putting yourself out there, not being afraid to fail, and it allows you to have a different involvement in the school experience.
That's
and,
awesome.
And it's just, yeah.
I fully agree.
Find your tribe.
Find your thing and go for it. Go for it. Okay. Moving on, we have a little segment planned. So actually, if you look under the table, you each have 2 little paddles. Okay. And this is a little game. Listen.
It's this.
It's this. It is this. It's not necessarily the hardest, but whatever. You 3 are going to be competing, right? I'm going to read you quotes. I have easy, medium, hard, and I believe extreme. And you have to say whether it's Taylor Swift, a Taylor Swift lyric, or a quote from the Dead Poet Society movie. Okay? So, here we go. Great movie. Great movie. Mm-hmm. Starting off, and so just you can say Taylor Swift or Dead Poet Society and hold up the paddle as determined. First off, listen, starting off easy. Carpe diem, seize the day, boys, make your lives extraordinary. Dead poet. Also, I'll give you an extra point if you can name the Taylor Swift song. Okay. Secondly,
I'm going to lose.
I'm going to lose this regardless. I don't listen, nor have I seen Dead Poets yet.
You've never seen it?
You've never seen it?
No,
Pluto.
my parents never had any movies in the house. We were a
Oh
no
my
TV
gosh.
household, and so it was really hard to get through. Like school was where I watched movies.
I'll tell you what, put this on your list.
Well,
It is on my list.
So last year, like this was a great movie. It semi connects to the book Catcher in the Rye. Semi. Only in that
you can push it.
Only in that the main character in the book comes from an all-boys boarding school environment. Mm-hmm. This is a full movie in the all-boys boarding school environment. And I know I shared it because I always do. Like this came out the summer of my senior year of high school. So myself and a good friend went to go see it, and there's, the ride of emotions, and at the very end you have 2 immature boys trying to hide back tears, talking about, yeah, it's a really good movie. Yeah. So, what do we do now? Because it's a gut punch at the very end. So it's a great movie. Yeah, totally should watch it.
It's on my list.
Okay.
Making my way through it.
Give it a watch. Okay, here we go. I remember how we felt sitting by the water, and every time I look at you, it's like the first time.
Oh, that's Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. Taylor Swift.
And extra credit. What song?
Last time?
By the song Mine. Mine.
Okay.
She has so many.
I don't know.
She's got a couple songs.
For real. Next up, the powerful play goes on, and you may contribute a verse.
Dead Poets.
Dead poet, dead poet, dead poet.
Society. Find your tribe.
Find
Tribute your verse.
Exactly. Moving on to the quote unquote hard. None of these are exactly hard, but still. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately.
Walt Whitman.
Boom.
Okay.
Boom, boom.
The teacher is
3.
quoting
Oh.
Walt
So
Whitman
is it
in
extra
the
points for each character?
Well,
I feel like that's extra points.
Might have to be. Okay, next up. Isn't it just so pretty to think all along there was some invisible string tying you to me?
Taylor Swift.
Invisible string.
Okay, this might be like a generational tie. I have 2 more, or maybe 3 more. 2 more. This is a battle, a war, and the casualties could be your hearts and souls.
Dead Poet.
Dead
Boom,
Poet Society.
boom, boom.
All right, so set the stage. He's the new teacher.
Yes.
And they open up their books, and it's a really, really boring introduction, and he tells them to rip the pages out. And these are all like uptight Saturday night boarding school prep kids, and they don't know how to do it. And he just tells them to just keep ripping and ripping and ripping. And to encourage them, he says that this is a battle for your soul. You have to look at literature and poetry not through statistics, but through your heart. And as he's doing that, another teacher comes by and gets mad at the class because he thinks they're vandalizing things, and then sees the teacher and, I guess everything's okay. And so kind of starts the rebelliousness of these students.
That's amazing. And the final one. I stood there silently trying to remember who I was before everything changed.
I'm going to go with this.
Taylor, Dead Poet, Dead Poet?
Yeah.
That was a Taylor Swift lyric.
Oh, dang.
Because you just knew it wasn't
I just know it's not
in.
from the lyrics.
All right,
I
well,
know
that,
what it isn't.
I call that was all I had. I'm calling that a win overall. Gills, you might have one more point.
Three-
pretty good.
But
3-player tie.
that's a win overall. Okay, moving on. Mr. Gilsdorf, I always like to ask this. Do you have any questions for us as students? Maybe as us as people or as us as representatives of the Ben High students?
No questions other than to say that I've never really been up in Mr. Fox's world and all of the apparatus, that's in here with the microphones and all that kind of stuff. And it's really, really cool.
Even if you turn around through the glass here, it's hard to
know.
see. There's the studio where we film the
Studio
video
room.
announcements, a green screen,
we
a desk.
watch them, we put them up, and
This is where it happens.
I have more fun with that because I get the giggles and the inside jokes. Will Albert cracks me up. Shout out to Will. And but no, I just think that not a question, more of an observation that this is another aspect of the school experience that I think students should look into. Like, you didn't necessarily know that you would want to put on headsets and be manipulating the volume and stuff like that 2 or 3 years ago, and then you land in it and it looks very natural and very natural for you as well. And so
I've never been in here.
You haven't either?
No,
Oh,
I've been in
God.
Fox's room once, and that was when my friend needed to print something, and I was like hanging on top of this like rock wall climbing
Yep,
thing. I was
he does
having
have that.
joy on there.
Yeah, no, it's just
It just happens.
no
It's a
questions or anything. I
special
just-
place out here in the tech
Yeah,
building.
and then also
Yeah.
the walkover.
The new
You
building.
get to see all the stuff that's happening. with
'Cause,
the
yeah, I
new
guess
wing and the walls are going
Since
up.
you're only in B Hall, you stay in B Hall. You're not like a bunch of students walking
Right.
between tech and back, so you don't see the construction
Right,
happening all the
right.
time.
Or like
I mean, I get a
TOK
window out.
construction time. It's
Yeah.
like every morning they're like, it's construction time. They just sit there and they watch the construction for like 20 minutes.
Well, I'll come over to RDM with my cup of coffee in the morning and just kind of stare. And
Well, it looks so cool. And they had like the ground. It took them like
So
months
long for the
groundwork, the one wall.
And
2
then
weeks
we're,
later, building.
the building
Like,
is there.
Yeah.
I know.
It's pretty impressive.
But you're the last. No, next year Brooklyn's class will be the last of
With
the A
all the
Hall and the
buildings.
B Hall.
Oh, yeah.
It's
all
so
of that.
sad.
And then in June of 26, the wrecking ball
Gym
comes.
and
I
Yeah.
can't believe that. It's gonna be sad. We're gonna miss this
it'll,
place.
it'll be a transitional situation, and then
We're going to come back and drive by here and we're going to be like,
That's not the
is
same.
this Ben
there's
High?
always a class that comes back and something is newer, or a team gets new uniforms, or they finally paint something. There's always a class that feels like they missed out. But then it's those classes that are in between, like our current freshmen and sophomores who
Oh,
are
yeah.
going
They're going to be living through
through
construction.
it. Yeah. But at the end, it'll be really awesome, and I don't think many schools could handle it as we've handled it thus far, and in the future, without the grace, without our administration. I mean, shout out to Mr. Reese, and he's going to see us through before he, waves to the sunset and things like that. And so I just don't think any other. I mean, I think very highly of our school in comparison to the others in the
Of course.
neighborhood.
Always.
I just think it would be chaos at the other places.
I kind of agree.
And right now, everybody's just living it and doing it and happy
Walking
to be
through
a part
the
of it.
halls going,
And
oh,
if
yeah,
we
there's a
Good.
building
if
here.
we have a Kevin Cooper assembly scheduled for outside in the football stadium and it rains and we have to shift, we just shift. We just pivot.
We're
And-
really good at it.
we
really
are good at
almost
just
too
going, well,
good
here's this.
yeah. But I think that's just because of the professionalism and the care in which our admin goes about doing things.
I agree. Okay, well, the final segment here is hot seat time. All right, these are the questions that people really want to know. So much so, they submitted them. We each have a couple questions
Okay.
that we're going to ask you. Starting off, I have one from my very own mom, Wendy Fries. She herself was a literature major, so she asked, what is your favorite line from a book? And then on top of that, what is your favorite book? This is like a twofer of the hardest questions.
Right. I'm not going to get the line right.
Close.
You know it
close.
in your heart, though.
Exactly.
There's a line of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck.
Mm-hmm.
When a moment is more than a moment and it settles. It's like this freeze in the matrix of time.
Yeah.
And it happens in the book after a violent scene.
Yeah.
And they're in the barn. If you haven't read the book, okay, so they're in the barn, and Lenny does something, and everything just pauses, and then shifts back into life again. And I just that line has always caught me. I always get super excited about it. There's other lines, obviously, that kick me in the kneecaps emotionally. I can't think of them right now, though. And then the second part of the question was
Favorite book?
Oh gosh,
I know that's like brutal.
I always get excited about whatever. This is going to sound so cheesy, English teacher. I'm always really excited about whatever we're currently in. So right now the freshmen are in Romeo and Juliet, and I think
remember
and
that.
it's not
I remember
a book,
being in
but
your
it's a
class
play,
with Romeo and Juliet.
and I just love clowning on Romeo, and pointing out the inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
That was your favorite thing.
And then
You'd be like, hold on.
I know, hold on.
Here's this.
Let that, if you giggled, you got it. But to have students understand that Shakespeare had to write for a vast audience, and everybody gets the sex, drugs, and rock and roll jokes. And that's why they're in there. And there are some actors in his Lord Chamberlain's Men that were great at delivering those lines. So he had to write for comedic characters. So I would say that in terms of like really playing with literature and overlapping things, and Brooklyn is just finishing it for her book thing, is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey.
Also an amazing movie.
Yes.
I haven't watched that yet. Gotta wait.
What would be your favorite book right now, Brooklyn?
I have some top ones, but definitely Nightingale of Kristen Hanna. A lot of Kristen Hanna stuff.
Okay.
The Help and Unbroken are probably.
Ooh.
Oh wait, and
Unbroken also a
actually
good
no,
movie.
The Book of Two Ways. That's my number one. I read it last summer, and it was by Jodi Picoult. The Book of Two Ways.
Okay.
Amazing.
It has some like Ethiopian history in it, and also kind of like a love story with it. So.
Okay.
Awesome.
Pluto, favorite book?
All right. I'm thinking like school books that I really educated. I had Miss Pressler for sophomore year, and it was memoir time, and she gave us like 5 books to choose from, and I chose Educated, and it was so good. I came to class every day going, I can't wait to talk about this because it's such an interesting book.
Yeah.
And it's written so well, and
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And then I think second favorite got to be Things I Carried or Beloved. Shout out
Things
to
I
Ms.
Carried.
Bowerman. Such a good teacher.
Right.
I'm enjoying her class so much.
The other thing about that, like you're saying, like you came ready, to discuss a book. Some students don't have that, right? There's not a book that catches them. And if we're given kind of kudos to people and things like that, I think Jessica Smith in our library will find a book for every student.
Oh, yeah.
You
I've
can-
asked them for recommendations.
You can come
Loved
to
it every
her
time.
and say, I hate reading. Reading is dumb. And like put your hands on your hip and say, you can't find a book. I challenge you. And she'll find you 5. And you'll
Yeah.
read all 5 of
Talented.
Oh, yeah.
Like she is just so good at threading that needle to find a book. And once you find a book, then you have found an author. And then once you have found an author, you have found a writing style.
And then like
And
a genre, and you
then-
can just keep going.
Exactly. And then if you stay on it, like it opens, it opens worlds and interests and conversations, and then you get motivated to go to class.
Yeah. It
Shocker.
was
Exactly.
your class that I was your class. Do you keep doing this where you have her come in like every other week and she like presents a new book?
So that was First Book Friday.
Yes,
and
First Book Friday.
We did
I
that
read
only
almost all
for
those
a
books from that.
year. And then I don't remember, the schedule didn't work, or I didn't have freshmen in the morning. We were really trying to hook freshmen. And I'll have to ask her on the way out this year, like, do we have time? Honestly, I think we're all going to be banging our head against the wall with the new 0 to 4 grading system and stuff like that. Like the really cool, neat little things that each teacher has that makes their class kind of special. We're going to have to work really, really hard to maintain that as we're all fumbling and bumbling our way through this new system. I don't know if you guys know, it's not going to matter to you guys, but Bend is choosing, and I understand Mr. Reese's decision, but we're skipping the rough draft year.
Oh, we are.
And Bend High is going into final draft year for the new grade switch
Oh,
in
okay.
Just going for
September.
it.
Simply because the next year, we're all moving into new rooms.
So
And all the chaos of that. So Mr. Reese wanted us to focus on one thing this summer and one thing next summer instead of 2 things next summer. I
That's
understand it, but at the same
understandable.
time, it
Yeah.
is what it is. But again, like if you just, that one book or that one,
Yeah.
that
I remember
one library.
Wicked Deep that she brought in. I was like, I thought before that, I was like, I don't really want to read this book. It was recommended. I was like, And then she read the first chapter, and I was like, Okay, I'm going and I'm getting that.
Yeah.
And I read the whole thing in a day.
What we were, that's when kids come
Happy to
back
hear it.
and go, I read this like yesterday. Yeah, like they got in trouble.
Entire
Like
thing.
like it's wrong to read just like
A whole book.
tune out the
read.
world and read a book, and that is Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas, summer vacations, taking my book on summer vacation and not letting me read it because
Yeah.
you had to finish it.
Well, yeah, I'm not done with it. Well, I have like a reading journal to do for class. I know,
My like
but-
freshman summer reading.
yeah. Well, how many? What page are you on? Well, I'm 50 pages ahead of you.
Because you won't let me read it.
Yeah, because it was total competition. Yeah. So awesome.
No,
Okay.
I've done that with books too. I was reading one book series called The Knife of Never Letting Go. Such a good series by Patrick Ness. I reread it recently because it's really fun. But I remember I like cried at the end of the second book. I went, "Mom, you're reading this." She goes, "I don't." I go, "Nope, you're reading this." I'm like, "You're dropping your book right now, and
Right.
you're
You're
gonna
reading
join
this.
me in this emotional fest of this book."
Well, I think and it's not every family. Both my parents were readers. Both my parents were. Pardon me. So excuse me.
All good. Keep.
Mom
entertainment.
was romance novels and pardon me, and Stephen King. Everything Stephen King. And my dad was like the military spy thriller kind of a thing, but just memories of mom on one corner with the book on the couch and dad on the other corner and
Reading
reading their
household.
different books, and mom in the car waiting to pick us up from sports, and there's a book and a Pepsi because my mom was Pepsi. And so if reading is kind of around and in the house and involved, then it's natural for your children to pick that up.
That's true.
If you're scrolling nonstop on a tablet as a parent and you're ignoring your child, then your kid's going
gonna
to
get
do
picked
the
up.
same thing on their device, and that's not very healthy.
Yeah,
not very
my
good.
household was like split in between. My mom loved reading. My dad was dyslexic, and he never really learned how to read. So he doesn't pick up books, and he hated high school with a passion. He like the only way he made it through high school was because he was a quarterback, and he was like, that was the only thing that saved my butt graduating was because these teachers put their time in because they knew that it wasn't just that he couldn't learn, it's just he couldn't read. And I had the same problem. I was illiterate until 4th grade, and I hated books. I told my mom I'm never going to like books, and it was 6th grade year, and I read like the first series of The Land of Stories, and that was when I was like, okay,
Pretty
books
good.
are
Pretty
it.
good.
Yeah.
And I followed my mom into just reading them.
Yeah.
That's
It's fun.
amazing.
Like switch and switch.
She also wanted me to say that Wuthering Heights and Wonder are her favorite books.
Wuthering Heights.
some of them.
I've never gotten through that. I signed up. So college, you can sign up for these classes. I chose British women's literature
Nice.
at Portland State,
Brit
and
Woman
it was
Lit.
winter term and straight lecture class, 6 to 9 on Monday, 6 to 9 on Wednesday. It's rainy and
Brutal.
dark when you go to
Brutal.
class. It's rainy and dark when you get out, and I just nothing grabbed me. And it's not an offense to the writers or the authors or anything like that. It's just wrong class at the wrong time in my life.
It's a tough environment.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Hit us with 2 more questions.
Okay,
and we
so I
two
got the
here.
next two. Okay. Is Bend High better than Mountain View?
Duh.
Duh.
Yeah, and it's easy to clown and make fun and point out differences and culture differences, but there are good people there. It's like,
Of course.
there are good
Of course.
educators, there are good teacher, coach, drama teacher, all of those roles, and for the most part, when you're competing and they kick your butt or you kick their butt in whatever sport, you just hope it's done in the right way and with sportsmanship, and you shake the hand, you tip the hat, and you're just like, yeah, you guys got us this year, but we're going to get you next year.
Next time.
Aesthetically, even under our like weird duct tape and
Trash
leaking
cans
roof
when
and
it
all that kind of
rains.
stuff, yeah,
Oh,
Bend
yeah.
High roundabouts. I still think our school, how do I want to say it, emits a more welcoming environment. Like
Yeah.
I actually interviewed. Funny long story. I interviewed at Bend High, and at the end of the interview, the principal at the time, Mark Neffendorf, looked at me and he goes, "Do you have any questions?" And I go, "No, I think it was great. Real good interview." Miss Van Jarsveld was in on the interview.
Let's go, Miss Van.
And he looked at me dead in the eye and he goes, "Do you need directions to Mountain View?" And my jaw dropped. He goes, I did my research. You have an interview in 30 minutes.
Oh,
No
wow.
And I drove over, and I hadn't been there before, and I walked in, and secretary was cold, didn't feel welcome or anything, but I was on like this interview high, and I walked in, and I was already told I'd probably get the job here, just don't embarrass yourself in the interview. And so I walked in with a lot of confidence, and I just nailed every question. Like, I had the room in stitches. I had everybody like nodding. Like, I was like, let's go. And just walked out feeling, hey, I got it. It's awesome, but I really hope Bend High calls.
Oh.
And Mountain View called first.
Oh.
And I didn't call him back, and I asked a vice principal at the time. I said, what do I do? He goes, don't call back till after school. And the rule is if they offer you a job, you have 10 days. And I'm like, oh, cool. All right. Well, I just kind of wait it out. And I went and I talked to a teacher and a coach who was a mentor. And as we're talking, I get a 541 call, and I pick it up, and it's the principal and Mr. Neffendorf and Mr. Waddell, who was the principal after him. And they said, you want to be a lava bear? And I was like, absolutely.
Boom.
And then you have that conversation, right? But then I have to call Mountain View back. Sorry, and they're all excited, and they're like, we want to offer you a job. And I said, I'm sorry, I already accepted at Bend High. And it was a 20-second pause.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. And hung up. I think he put the phone down and dropped a few bad words and was mad at the Bend High admin who snuck in and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, it was a very close call. Like, if Bend High wouldn't have done it, I would have taken the Mountain View job because we were moving here no matter what. But we did have Sherry Waterman.
Oh, yeah.
Sherry Waterman was is a family friend, and her kids went to Mountain View, and she was a Pilot Butte teacher, and it's Mountain View all the way. And she said, I'll help you get to Bend. I think Bend's a better fit for you. Well, and then I did a soft interview with Lowell Norby, Coach Norbs, when he was the head coach of football at Summit. And he told me, I will do everything I can to get you a job at Bend.
Dude, these people.
And so what he had a head coaching desire. The Summit job opened. As soon as he got there, he realized it was a bad choice. And he goes, I'd love to have you, but they're not going to hire a teacher until after football starts. And like September 1st. And I know you want to coach as well. So I'll call Craig Walker, and I'll make sure that you get on the staff over there. But I'd love to have you, but I just know it's not going to work out.
Oh, brutal.
So a lot of stars aligned, a lot of people directing me in the right way. And so of course we're better than Mountain.
Yeah, the atmosphere of Bend High is definitely it. My brother went here, and I remember I'd walked through the halls as a kid, and I walked through it freshman year. I was like, this is the same. This feels the same welcoming, even if it was like the halls were kind of empty. We were going to like an ultimate thing, and my mom let me kind of run around. I was like, this feels nice. It feels warm.
Yeah, it really does.
It's welcoming.
It does. Yeah. It's beautiful.
It's different.
All right, what's the next one? What's your favorite story to tell before class? I'm a fan of this.
That's from Tula. I don't know if you know her.
Tula. Does she have an answer there or something?
No.
Like one that okay. Well, they used to be, stories of Brooklyn or of Brock, but now that they have peers or they're, in the classroom, I can't share it anymore.
Yeah.
But the one is
my
like
dancing
a
one?
Monday after cheer camp. And so Brooklyn did cheer camp at age 5 or 6. Okay.
Yeah.
And I had one of our captains, or soon to be captains, in the junior class. And she was just like, oh gosh, it was so good to see your daughter. And she picked up everything great. I go, well, she wasn't feeling too well, so she's going to be here today. And so mom drops you off. And so when kids are sick, and we hide them under our desk, because we really should have our kids at school, because they have fevers and they can't go to daycare or whatever like that. And so Brooklyn had gotten into my drawer, and I had like coffee money in there, just a couple of dollars. Well, I didn't know that she had taken them. So when the student's like, oh, Brooklyn's here, let's see your new cheer. And so Brooklyn proudly gets up there, and it's bang, bang, choo-choo train, come on, Bears, do your thing. Except she had tucked about 4 or 5 of the dollars in her waist
Oh, sneaky.
band. So as she's stretching her arms out, she's got dollar bills falling at her feet.
That's cool.
Like she's on stage 4 down the street. right? And so that was adorable and a fun icebreaker kind of story to
Oh
tell.
my gosh.
But then you age out of that cuteness, and then you're like a 7th grade student, and my students went to middle school with her, or now all of a sudden she's a student here. So I can't really tell that one anymore, other than
I guess right now.
Other than right now.
so we can strike this, right? You said at the
Yeah,
very beginning we can go back.
An option.
No, it's hilarious.
good.
And then there's just other ones where I can make fun of myself and connect a story or a character.
I remember a lot of
to
your restaurant days
a
stories
mistakes, yeah,
of
and
old
things that
ladies hitting on you.
and
all that
there
sort of
were
thing.
those.
God, easy to make tips. Um,
That's
yeah, it's just so any way in which you can humanize yourself in front of a student,
Yeah.
in front of a class, and in which you can point out the mistakes that you made, editing, stories for purposes like that, and if it can connect to whatever you're either doing that day or some aspect of the piece of literature. Now, to go back, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I can't really connect to psychosis or being in a hospital or being part of the Merry Pranksters or anything like that. But I can connect to being a dumb 17-year-old thinking I'm head over heels in love, like Romeo and Juliet. And so anytime, and literature offers that, where you can connect life stories, good, bad, or ugly, to the characters, then it makes perhaps the reading more accessible.
That's awesome.
It all comes back to that.
All right, we got 2 more here.
Okay, from Cannon. Do you know you are everyone's favorite teacher?
Cannon Delmarter.
Cannon Powell.
He would say that too.
Did he call me by my first name? Sorry, it's a whole side thing. Do I know that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you do.
it's not like there's stats out there, but
looking at a graph each year.
I
Here's the favorite.
feel, I know, like, God, what do I got to work on?
Someone got you a cake for staff appreciation.
I did get a cake
That's
this year.
pretty
for
big.
staff,
Oh, yeah,
and I got
that'll do it.
and 2 years ago I got a cake and it said, "Sorry for yapping all class period."
That is so fair.
That's all. And
I
that
remember
was,
nonstop talking in your
It
class.
was Carly Shields.
Shout out.
Yeah, it was when they were juniors.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, you feel a warmth and you feel a vibe, and you're doing good things, and it does not matter if you get the little card. It does matter if you get the little cards, the teacher appreciation, and they're in your desk or you're in your mailbox and stuff like that. But when kids come by after you've had them for a while and they say, "Hey, I remember that part of your class," or you get the random out in public. And that one's really hard because it's 30 plus years and names are slipping.
Yeah.
So you're like
Big
awkwardly
time.
like,
Right. And so, hey, you don't do that,
your
but
name
you're
real
like, you
quick.
got to go, okay, I'm sorry. You absolutely are familiar. Like totally in the story you're telling, I can see you in my class. I can almost tell you what period it was and where you sat, but you got to give me your name.
Gotta give me your name.
Yeah. And,
Names are
and
hard.
as long as you're just like, again, you're honest, because that's how I've been for the most part in front of a class. And I think those adults will appreciate that. I had one at the Columbia Outlet a couple years ago, just looking at things, and this young man's looking, and he goes, "Gils." I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Tigard High School." I go, "Hey."
Whoa.
No way.
That, that's
and then
far
and then he
back.
got serious and he goes, "You were my teacher during 9/11.
Whoa. That's
Was-
unbelievable.
You
Wow.
you made that memorable, but also you made it okay." Damn.
That's that's a lot.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's like heavy.
That's
Right? Like you let us watch it for a little bit, and then you made sure to turn it off because you didn't want us to see it.
oh my gosh.
The
That's
carnage, you didn't want us to just always see the carnage. And you said, "You're going to watch this at home with your parents. You need to watch it. But right
Yeah.
now we need to like put it away for a little bit and
that's unbelievable.
get some fresh air." And so if you teach long enough, you have those things.
You have
And
those moments.
If you do your best to kind of stay true to whatever the curriculum is, but to treating students as individual people, as young adults, and champion them, go to the choir concert when you can and wave and say, "Hey, you were awesome last night," the next day and stuff like that, then that's kind of what it's all about.
It really is.
Kids will learn to write. Maybe they come in as great writers or not. Maybe there's a book, that they attach to, or an equation. In the math world, I could never understand that. But it comes around, and yeah, I guess I know.
That's good. That's good.
And then for Mr. Fox, what is your favorite book you don't teach?
Ooh. Kind of similar before.
So I don't get to teach this book, but I know that Mr. Kurtz Nichols teaches it in religions. I love Siddhartha.
I love that book too. A lot of my friends were like, I didn't like reading it, and I was like, I actually enjoyed
Govinda,
it. It's so
the loyal friend.
interesting.
And there's a whole
so
lot
great.
of there's a whole lot in it, and I had to teach it. That was another British lit book, and it's really short. And when I see it on the desk, I get all like, my geeky teacher, and I go to the closet and get all my folders and sit down, and the student's like, it's just a religions book. Like,
It's a good book.
I go, I know, but he's gonna get to the river, and then he's gonna have all of these things, and then he's gonna get Nirvana and all that.
It's so good.
Over caffeinated, and then. But I miss teaching that, and I'll reread it, like you were saying, like you reread a series. So that would probably be up there. In the sophomore world, I know everybody gets tired of them because you have to read them all the time. I miss teaching To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
I remember reading that.
Okay, so there's a you asked about favorite line. Scout, your daddy's passing. And that's when all of the African-American citizens are up in the balcony because it can't be on the main thing, and they all take off their hat to Atticus Finch because they know. That kills me.
Gosh.
Yeah, that part
So
totally kills
good.
me.
So good.
I don't know why. So I love that. And then Lord of the Flies.
Another amazing book.
Lord of the Flies. But then the one that I think is just super fun and like really on point today is Fahrenheit 451.
Nice.
Fahrenheit and Siddhartha would probably be 1 and 2.
1, 2. Okay. Well, I have the final question for you that we ask all the teachers and faculty. It is, if you can give one piece of advice to the graduating class of 2025, what would it be?
Class of 2025. It is a vastly different post-high school landscape than most of the teachers that are kind of guiding you. We understand, like it was, okay, if you're not going to 4-year school, you're going to community college. If you're not doing a community college, you're going to the military. If you're not doing military, you're doing the trade schools. And so the world is so vastly different in terms of ways in which you can find your passion or your path or your journey. I think that you need to, so be open to opportunities. Understand that there are doors that will open for you that you don't even know it exist simply because of a passing opportunity or an encounter with another person that you don't know, like this whole butterfly effect, this ripple kind of thing. And you need to kind of chase them for a few years. Not too far down the rabbit hole, but you need to chase those things a little bit. Do not be afraid of grind.
Nice.
Embrace the grind and the hard work of achieving something. It is not easy to go to school. Like you got to work and you got to figure out your finances and you got to study and you have to pass up opportunities. That might be like a raging party or something like that. And if you find what you want to do, learn from the experts. Don't be a smartass. Learn from the experts. Grind it out. But kind of keep eyes and ears open because there's situations, just ships that pass by and you want to be like, hey, maybe I do like that.
Wave it down like a taxi.
Yeah, and go ahead and jump on it. And you're gonna fall and you're gonna fumble and you're gonna scrape your knee, but you absolutely have to get back up.
Well,
You can't be a victim.
that was amazing. And I'm going to now say thank you for tuning in to the BSH Brief. Huge shout out to Mr. Gilsdorf for sharing their story and to our amazing student guests for holding it down. Catch us next week with a new episode, new guests, and the same Lava Bear energy. Until next time, stay proud, stay classy, and stay brief, Ben High. That's a wrap, everybody. Good job.
Thank you.
Done.
Woohoo.
Cool.